Tonight will be a different State of the State address. There's so much we could discuss about how we can make our great state even better, stronger over the next year. But tonight, I will address the crisis in Flint first and in depth. To begin, I'd like to address the people of Flint. Your families face a crisis you did not create and could not have prevented. I want to speak directly, honestly, and sincerely to let you know we are praying for you, we are working hard for you, and we are absolutely committed to taking the right steps to effectively solve this crisis. To you, the people of Flint, I say tonight, as I have before, I am sorry and I will fix it. No citizen of this great state should endure this kind of catastrophe. Government failed you, federal, state, and local leaders, by breaking the trust you placed in us. I'm sorry most of all that I let you down. You deserve better. You deserve accountability. You deserve to know that the buck stops here with me. Most of all, you deserve to know the truth, and I have a responsibility to tell the truth. The truth about what we've done and what we'll do to overcome this challenge. Tomorrow I will release my 2014 and 2015 emails regarding Flint to you, the citizens, so you will have answers to your questions about what we've done and what we're doing to make this right for the families of Flint. Anyone will be able to read this information for themselves at michigan.gov/Snyder. Because the most important thing we can do right now is to work hard and work together for the people of Flint. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. I know apologies won't make up for the mistakes that were made. Nothing will. But I take full responsibility to fix the problem so it will never happen again. Let me tell you what's been done so far and what we'll be doing in the coming days, weeks, months, and years to keep our commitment to you, to make Flint an even cleaner, safer, stronger city than it was before, because that's what you and your families deserve. We are working to do whatever we must until this crisis is resolved. The people of Flint have chosen a new mayor, and I'm personally committed to work hand in hand with Mayor Weaver so we can rebuild the trust that's been broken. I've already taken steps to bring new leadership to the Department of Environmental Quality. These are individuals who understand the severity of the problem and who will effectively communicate to the people of the state. For those whose mistakes contributed to this disaster, we are fully cooperating with investigations and will hold those individuals accountable. And let me be perfectly clear to all of state government. In situations like this, they must come to my desk immediately, no delays, no excuses, period. We will provide resources to help anyone and everyone that is affected, just as we've provided since we first learned of this crisis. In addition to emails, tonight I'm releasing a comprehensive timeline of the steps we've taken and the actions underway to solve this crisis. Let me walk you through the facts. First, this crisis began in the spring of 2013 when the Flint City Council voted 7-1 to buy water from the Karagandhi Water Authority, the KWA. Former Flint Mayor Walling supported the move, and the emergency manager approved the plan. DWSD, the Department of Detroit Water and Sewer Department, provided notice of termination effective 1 year later, and on April 25, 2014, Flint began to use water from the Flint River as an interim source. Second, Soon after the switch from Detroit water to Flint River water, residents complained about the water, the color, the smell, rashes, and concerns with bacteria. Ultimately, localized boil water advisories were issued by the city of Flint in August and September of 2014, each lasting several days. Third, the Department of Environmental Quality and the Federal Environmental Protection Agency began communicating about lead concerns in February 2015. Sadly, both were ineffective in fully addressing and solving the problem. DEQ misinterpreted the water safety regulations, and EPA did not act with sufficient urgency to address the concerns of one of its experts about DEQ's approach and the risk of lead contamination. In May 2015, lead service lines to one residence were removed and replaced due to high lead service levels. But still, they both failed to systematically identify and solve the problem. Fourth, in July 2015, my office proactively asked about the quality of Flint's water, test results, and blood testing. The DEQ told us that Flint was in compliance with the lead and copper rule. They told us there was one concern with one house that was corrected and there was nothing widespread to address. The Department of Health and Human Services also told us that the elevated blood lead levels were to be expected because they followed a normal seasonal trend. These conclusions were later shown to be incorrect when the Department of Health and Human Services conducted a deeper analysis of the relevant data. Fifth, in May, Professor Mark Edwards from Virginia Tech and Dr. Mona Hanna Atisha sounded an alarm about lead in Flint's water. But tragically, based on what DEQ and the Department of Health and Human Services had seen on the ground, they initially failed to reach the same conclusion. I want to thank the professor, the doctor, and the concerned pastors of Flint for bringing this issue to light. We are actively investigating why these agencies got it so wrong. And I believe we have Dr. Hicks Atisha with us here tonight, and I'd like to recognize her. If you could rise, please. Dr. Hanna Atisha, I apologize. I always call you Dr. Mona. Sixth, on September 28th, 2015, I was first briefed on the potential scope and magnitude of the crisis on a phone call with DEQ and DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services. On October 1, 2015, DHHS epidemiologist validated Dr. Hanna Atisha's findings, confirming the lead problem in Flint's water supply. At this point, I immediately ordered them to develop and implement a 10-point plan that included the immediate distribution of water filters, immediate testing water in schools, expanded water and blood testing for anyone that might be exposed. About 12,000 filters were distributed, 700 water tests, and 2,000 blood tests were conducted within the first 3 months. Seventh, on October 8th, I announced that the Flint water system would be reconnected to the Detroit water system to minimize any further damage. And later that month, I announced the independent Flint Water Task Force to review actions that had occurred so far and to make recommendations to address the crisis. Eighth, the task force issued its initial actionable recommendations and identified critical problems in mid-December. Specifically, they pointed to a primary failure of leadership at the DEQ and a culture that led to this crisis. The task force was right, and I immediately took action, appointing new leadership at the department. Ninth, I declared an emergency in Flint on January 5th so we could access additional resources and mobilize additional support, including the Michigan State Police and the Michigan National Guard. These critical resources were needed to help families get clean water and end any risk or exposure for every resident of Flint. I also requested a presidential declaration of federal emergency, which was granted. And to the members of our congressional delegation who are here tonight, this is a challenge we must work together to solve, And I look forward to working with you to bring additional support from the federal government to the people of Flint. 10th, to date, more than 37,300 cases of water, more than 53,700 water filters, and more than 7,300 water testing kits have been distributed. More than 21,300 homes have been visited. This is not enough. I'm increasing the support from the Michigan National Guard starting tomorrow to ensure that every home we need to visit in Flint gets visited as soon as possible. And I'm appealing the President's decision not to grant a major disaster declaration. We'll continue to deliver water, filters. We will not stop working for the people of Flint until every single person has clean water every single day, no matter what. Thank you. Thank you. That's why today I made an official request of the legislature to fund a series of immediate actions to provide everyone in Flint clean water and care for Flint's children. In addition to the $9 million supplemental appropriation for Flint made in October 2015, the request today is for $28 million with $22 million from the general fund. It includes additional bottled water, filters, replacement filters for anyone that needs these resources, assistance to the City of Flint to help with utility-related issues, testing and replacing fixtures in schools, daycare facilities, and other high-risk locations, treatment of children with high lead levels, including diagnostic testing, nurse visits, nutritional counseling, and environmental assessments. Services will be available for the treatment of potential behavioral health issues such as ADHD for those who have had or could have had elevated blood lead levels. We'll also work with local primary care providers and hospitals to educate the community about toxic stress and how to identify developmental delays. Support for children and adolescent health centers and additional support for children's healthcare access. An infrastructure integrity study for pipes and connections using outside independent experts. An important note, this will not be the last budget request for Flint. Additional resources will be needed for water-related needs, health-related needs, educational needs, economic development needs, and more. If you would also like to aid Flint, please go to helpforflint.com, all spelled out, to volunteer or donate. If you are a Flint resident who needs help getting the water you need, go to helpforflint.com. These are the facts of what we've done and what we're doing. But just as important as solving short-term needs and improving any long-term solutions, we need to make sure this never happens again in any Michigan city. We began this process by creating the Independent Flint Water Task Force and asking them to report on exactly what happened, what accountability measures must be in place, and what investments need to be implemented. This month, I issued an executive order to ensure that state and local leaders have everything they need to clean up this mess, ensure that anyone with lingering healthcare concerns is quickly, compassionately, and effectively treated. I know there will be long-term consequences, but I want you to know that we'll be there with long-term solutions for as long as it takes to make this right. There can be no excuse. When Michiganders turn on the tap, they expect and deserve clean, safe water. It's that simple. It's that straightforward. So that's what we'll deliver. To the families in Flint, it is my responsibility, my commitment to deliver. I give you my commitment that Michigan will not let you down. I'm personally committing the next 3 years of my administration to tirelessly work to ensure that the families of Flint can heal from this wound and that every Michigander enjoys the quality of life they deserve. To do this, I ask in return that your prayers include the people of Flint. I ask for the continuing strong partnership, counsel, and commitment of all of our legislators gathered here. And I ask for the commitment of all of our citizens to work together as Michiganders with relentless positive action, and to hold me accountable for results. I sought the office of Governor of Michigan to reinvent our state because we were broken in many ways. We've repaired and reinvented many critical items over the past 5 years, including issues that many didn't think could be solved. But the crisis in Flint makes it clear to me that more needs to be done. It is truly a humbling experience to see the people you work for and care for harmed by the people that work for you. But Michiganders don't quit. We don't give up. Instead, we'll work with even more passion and commitment to truly improve our state. For everyone who's chosen to make Michigan their home, this is more than a promise. This is my commitment. Thank you, and God bless Michigan and our nation.